Welcome back to All Hands on Decks, the series where my pal Andy and I go through Marvel CDB and talk about decks you should be playing and deck builders we think you should be paying attention to. Welcome, Andy. How are you?
Thanks. Doing all right. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I just realized I didn't introduce myself. My name is Boom Guy. Hopefully you know who I am
are
if
you?
you're clicked on this channel. I kind of feel like I'm everywhere lately, but here I am. Thanks for joining. This is our now monthly series, which has been going on for like the better part of a year. I don't know if you know that.
That's crazy
Andy,
that it's been that long.
Well, it started as a weekly series, and then we transitioned to monthly because it just became a lot to do a weekly series. And this is episode 15, so it's kind of a pretty decent running series now.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of decks today. Essentially, the idea of this series is we talk through decks on Marvel CDB. We highlight deck builders who don't have a ton of fake Marvel CDB points, so they maybe aren't super well known, and kind of show off their decks. We know it's hard to get seen on Marvel CDB, and when we started this series 8 months ago, 9 months ago, whatever, Marvel CDB felt a little stagnant to me. It felt like it was the same few deck builders, had all the front page. It was always the same people, and it was kind of impossible to get your deck seen unless you were already established or, run a podcast or something. And so, yeah. So I think we started this, and since then I have noticed a huge change. I think the change started pretty quickly after we started this, and people really got into it. And again, I'm not taking full credit for that. I think a lot of things happened, but I do think we kind of primed the pump, so to speak, for people to start posting more. And I encourage people all the time, just like post decks. Who cares how well they're tested? Who cares if you beat Expert Venom Goblin? Who cares? Like, I don't care. Just post a deck that you think is fun and share it with people. So I try to comment on decks. I know you do too.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that like the freshness of the page. But yeah, like seeing others comment on people's decks, like, not even like pushed by us or anything, just people now interacting with each other. And that has been so refreshing to see.
There are definitely times when I look at the front page and I see like 2 of my own decks, and I wonder if I've become the thing that I hate. But
You are the problem.
yeah, that was definitely not the point of this. But I also publish decks, and I fully recognize that the fact that I am fairly prominent in the community, maybe not prominent, but like I just am in a lot of things. I help with the con. We're organizing this MCDC, this other con in October. I have a channel. I have all these things, so I just have a little name recognition. So I recognize that does a lot of the work for my decks. The decks I post are mostly jank and garbage, but I have name recognition.
Yeah.
But there are some really talented people who do some cool creative decks, and I want to keep highlighting that. So we're going to keep going with the series. We each brought 5 decks today that are focused around multiplayer. So that's kind of the theme for this episode. We have a theme usually for each one. This one is multiplayer decks. We did another multiplayer deck episode a few episodes ago, but there's so many of them, and I want to highlight those.
Ones.
I feel like so much of this game lives in this bubble where true solo is overrepresented. There's not a wrong way to play the game. True solo is great, but I think multiplayer is awesome, and I just try to highlight that more. So
yeah, absolutely. Which I'm kind of curious. What do you think Marvel CDB would be like if that number didn't exist?
Boy, I don't know. That's a good question. I have wondered that. I sometimes wish it didn't exist. It just feels like a fake score that, I don't even know what it means, really. I guess it's just like an amalgamation of how many people click like or heart it or star
favorite,
it or leave a comment. Maybe that gives you points. I don't know if that gives you points or not. But, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I often am curious about, like, if that number weren't there, how would my interactions change? And, like, I know it's an unfair question to ask from someone who has a larger number of, like, we kind of use that as this way of being like, oh, I'll notice this person's deck, or, like, lots of people seem to like it, so maybe I should take a look at it. But it is interesting in that, like, in all honesty, the most that it tells you is that people click the button, not necessarily about how well you would play that deck. And so, like, I don't know how things would change in there if, like, comments would become the main interacting point of, hey, I played this, here's the issue I run into, and, like, back and forth there, as opposed to, I don't know, it looks fun, I like the person, I'm gonna click the button. But I go back and forth on what that would be like. Granted, it's not like you'll see a pull request in that repo to remove the number, but it was just kind of a curious thing and what that would be like.
Yeah, I do think sometimes I wish that I could follow people that I like. Like, there's a number of people I consistently like their decks. But there's no real way for me to stay on top of them posting things unless I just check the site daily, because
Yeah.
there's like the top, like the front page basically was 8 or 10 decks or whatever that are just really hot right now. People are liking them a lot, and I don't exactly know what the math is, but that makes them flow to the top. And so if they keep getting likes, they stay there. But then there's like the lower section, which is like new decks. I kind of wish those were reversed, so like the new stuff showed at the top rather than having to scroll down. And then you can only still see like 8 or 10, right, before they just fall off into I don't even know where. And then you have to go searching. It's very difficult to search. You can search by deck builder if you know somebody, but that's like another step. I just wish, I could see like, oh, Andy, like he publishes a lot of decks I like. I could just click follow, and then when a new deck shows up, I have like a feed, basically like every other social media ever. But then I have a feed where I can look like, oh, cool, Andy and Castle Frank and Boom Guy or whoever published a deck. Yeah. So I can just follow those. And that would be cool, I think.
That'd be
way
interesting.
To interact with them.
Yeah.
And then I wish
Agreed.
like I could just save them and favorite, and that wouldn't become a metric for how good it is. It's just like I can come back to it later. I'd be all for scrapping the number totally.
That'd be definitely an interesting thing to think about, and I'd be curious if like other people, what y'all think about it. And like, I'm grateful Marvel CDB is here. It's a fun way to interact with people and what they're creating. And so like, I don't want to like disparage the site, be like Andy's against MCDB, as much as like, it's just kind of funny to think about of like some of those things, how it would be different. So either way, just curious about it.
Yeah, curious what people think. I'm definitely going to title this episode Andy R's Crusade Against Marvel CDB. All caps. I got to get those clicks, man.
I heard Andy R say
Andy R wants to destroy Marvel CDB. No. Yeah, I'm curious what people think. Leave a comment or hit me on Discord or whatever. Curious what people think about that. If they were to redesign Marvel CDB, how would they design it? This is built for a different game. I think it's built for the Game of Thrones LCG that was like 15 years ago, and then it's just been like adapted for Lord of the Rings as Rings DB, and then for Arkham Horror as Arkham DB, and then again it's just kind of like slapping on paint to make it a Marvel game. So it wasn't designed with Marvel in mind. But I wonder what it would look like if it was. Anyway, let's not waste any more time, Andy. Let's jump right into decks. Would you like to go first, or would you like to go second?
I would love to go first. No, I'll totally go first today.
First. So I will share your deck as usual.
Okay.
I'll share the deck on the screen. For those of you who are listening to this on audio and who are not watching the screen, we will read the deck list and then we'll kind of talk about it. So let me share this to my screen now. And boom. Here is your first deck, Andy.
Yeah.
Go.
Soldier of Fortune by Castle Frank. Now, anyone who has watched this series for a while knows that I adore Castle Frank's decks. Like, I think they build wonderful decks, like always worth a look. And this one is Bucky, the Winter Soldier, in Protection. And so he has in this deck list Brother Voodoo and Jocasta for allies. For events, we have 2 Come Get Me Bubs, 3 Powerful Punch, 2 Repurpose, 2 What Doesn't Kill Me, 1 Winter Widow Soldier Spy, 1 Player Sides Game Superpower Training, the 3 doubles, Energy Genius and Strength, a Helicarrier. For upgrades, we have 1 Change of Fortune, 1 Electrostatic Armor, 3 Energy Barriers, 2 Enhanced Physiques, 1 Practice Plan, 2 Ready for a Fight, and it, to me, is a fun take on a protection deck, where usually, like, when we think protection, we think of, I'm going to defend people, but this is just I'm going to punch them on the villain phase. And my favorite thing is that I didn't realize it until looking at this deck, but Arm Block is not specific to you. So the Arm Block itself is a 1-cost attack defense that when an enemy attacks, deal 3 damage to it. If you exhausted your cybernetic arm to pay for this event, prevent all damage from that enemy's attack. So you can play it under any enemy's attack to anyone. It doesn't have to be to you. It doesn't have to be the villain. And it is a great way to interrupt, and it blocks all of that damage. So, with this deck having Change of Fortune, you're and Come Get Me Bub, you're kind of targeting minions for these cards, because you want to do damage to the minion and then have Change of Fortune kick off. But like, from a multiplayer aspect, I love that between this and Powerful Punch, which is a 2-cost, when an enemy initiates an attack, deal 4 damage to the enemy, you have ways of interrupting attacks to other people and hitting them, and hopefully, if it's a minion, hitting it out. 5 damage if it's you use the cybernetic arm, or this one. So, and then Jocasta to bring it up. I just thought it was a really fun protection multiplayer deck.
Yeah, that's really clever. It's a good way to hit some damage back and take advantage of his ability in the villain phase, right? Because his ability is once per phase, I believe, right? It's no, it's unlimited.
No, it's unlimited.
So whenever you defeat an enemy,
point.
If you attack and defeat it, an arm block is an attack, so you can use that. Powerful punch, same thing, also an attack. So that's cool. I like the interaction. I wonder if there's a card I feel like people don't really like. Is it called Under Control? Is that the one that you attach it to a minion, and if you defend it, take no damage, it deals 4 damage back?
Uh-huh.
I feel like that might help with some like beefier minions, right? Because arm block is going to deal 3 back, maybe 4, and then that could add potentially 7, right? So you could hit some really beefy minions and clear them. I think that could be cool. I like that card, but it doesn't seem to get a ton of play in Change of Fortune decks. But this is a really clever idea. And, you're incentivized as Bucky to do minions anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of his thing.
What's funny is I didn't know that people were not that up on Under Control. It's a great attachment or upgrade.
It's not in here. It's not in most of these Change of Fortune decks, I don't think.
That's true. That's so interesting. I don't think I mean, like, I understand the trigger to have to defend and take no damage, but I feel like in protection, you can accomplish that pretty easily.
I think so.
But either way, the other fun call out on this deck that I always love when I see are the enhanced cards, especially in this case. Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of the enhanced, and having enhanced physique when you have a ready for a fight and what doesn't kill me, which requires the physical. That way you always have a physical ready to go. I think that's a great call on Castle Frank's part to make sure that they're able to hit the requirements on them.
Yeah, 100%. I like them as well. I've been finding myself putting them into more and more decks. Yeah. I'm toying with I'm kind of cooking up an aggression deck right now. But Hone Technique, but Enhanced Awareness made its way into that deck, right? Because this is a way to guarantee I can always trigger that mental if I need it.
Yeah.
So I think they're fun little cards. I'm a little surprised this one doesn't include Unflappable. That seems like a pretty easy card draw here. That surprises me.
Especially considering arm block allows you to not take damage, and it is a defense. Like,
exactly.
I agree with you. Unflappable would be a great change to add to this deck.
And powerful punch too. Same thing, right? It's a defense. So when it initiates attack, it interrupts. So you count as defending, and if you kill it first, it won't hit you, and then you take no damage. It's just another way to trigger Unflappable. I'm a little surprised Unflappable is just value, but Castle Frank knows what he's doing. So I trust it. No, this looks cool. I like this deck. Thanks for sharing this one, Andy.
Absolutely. What about you? What do you got next?
Let's move to my first deck. And since you started with a pretty powerful, strong deck, I'm also going to pick a powerful hero to start with. Nope. That is a false lead, my friends.
I feel
I'm actually
tricked.
going with Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
So Hawkeye is a ton of fun. I like Hawkeye actually quite a bit. I have a soft spot for him. I know he's a little weak, but I have a soft spot. This deck in particular this deck is, I don't know if it's directly built for multiplayer, but when I read it, it felt like a multiplayer deck. Like, this is the classic glass cannon in action, and which is Hawkeye. And I honestly think Hawkeye is best when you don't try to limit the things he can't do, which quite frankly is most of the game. Defending, thwarting, paying for things. Those are all not great, like, strengths of his. But when you focus on what he does do well, which is damage, then I think he can really shine. So to me, that's always his strongest build. I've built him in other aspects too, but I always think aggression's great for him. So I love that this focuses on the new card Firepower, and it also includes... well, let me just read the deck. I'm sorry. I'll get back here. All right, so this is a Hawkeye deck called Master of Ranged Firepower. You can already see where this is going. It includes no additional allies other than Mockingbird. So events, we have 3 copies of Directed Force and 3 copies of Firepower. The resources, we have the 3 basic doubles and then 2 copies of Aggressive Energy. We have 2 copies of Assault Training, Avengers Tower, Government Liaison, Helicarrier, and Quinn Carrier. And then we have aggressive stance, 2 hand cannons, a hone technique, a shield sidearm, a sharpshooter, a side holster, and 1 copy of warrior skill. I am becoming a huge fan of directed force. I really love that card. That is low-key becoming a card I try to sneak into a ton of decks right now. So kudos for directed force. I'm currently cooking a deck that uses directed force as well. I'm always cooking like a ton of decks because I just think about the game all the time.
It's a lot of fun to play.
Directed force is a great one for Hawkeye. Because with his bow, all of his arrow attacks gain ranged, which means if you're doing an arrow attack, you can just toss in directed force and just deal extra damage. That's great. So it's 0 cost, which is great because Hawkeye's not good with the money. But it also increases firepower, right? And because of the way firepower is written, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think directed force increases all instances of that. So it's going to become 1 for 5 and 5 and 5. And the idea here is like aggressive energy then could make it 6 and 6 and 6. So pretty quickly it gets a little crazy. Making it hone technique obviously just adds to that. And then warrior skill because you're playing a ton of events. So this is really just built around firepower. I also love the training cards. I know you do too. Assault training, flip down, shuffle firepower back in, and go back up. I think that's great. I do think these training cards could use a little more. I wouldn't mind 3 training counters. I think they're just they can be rough. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think they're like amazing cards. I agreed with you on the enhanced cards. I think those are kind of hidden gems at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think the training cards are hidden gems.
Interesting.
Flipping down and only shuffling 1 card in, and you only do it twice. Like I do think that can be rough. Like you have to flip. You can only do 1 card at a time. You can only, which I'd love 1 card at a time, but you can only do 2 cards total. So I think they're a little hard to run, especially in Hawkeye, who probably doesn't want to flip down very much. But it works, because you are just so honed in, you're so dialed in on firepower that you want to get that as much as possible. So I think this is great. Yeah. And, this is super fun. And so I can imagine at a table and just being like, look, I'm Hawkeye. Somebody better thwart. And I hope somebody protects me. But like, I'm just going to lay waste to everything. And that's cool.
Yeah. That is like seeing things like aggressive energy. And it's like, oh yeah, because he has quite a few. I think he has like 6 attack arrows that can up on its own, which are great. And then the call out, I don't think I even realized firepower has ranged on it. So directed force is going to just amplify so many things. Yeah. And I'm with you. Like, I like assault training. I like the training cards. Because in someone that their flip down, their alter ego stuff isn't necessarily strong, it can at least, when you flip down, make it more worth your while to do. But agreed in that, like, they don't do enough for me to want to center decks around them. Like, Hawkeye is a good example of it being worth it because he doesn't have a support that is an alter ego important support. He doesn't have the action on his side is really only good at the start, and if you get caught off guard, because his action is just spend a resource and bring your bow to hand. And so, like, while that's good, that isn't necessarily reasons to flip down, and assault training can help you do that well. And so that's where it's like, I think these cards are so good. It's a well thought out deck. I would be excited to bring out Hawkeye for this one. And while I'm not super down on Hawkeye, like, I remember him coming out being the first one who could ignore Crisis from thwarting, and thought that was super cool. However, he definitely is someone who doesn't make it to my mind when I think of decks, doesn't make it to play unless the randomizer chooses him. And this is a cool, refreshing look at Hawkeye.
Hawkeye is one of those that I have fun with him. I mean, I've said many, many times on the channel that I have a soft spot for heroes that are a little weaker. I think if I was making a ranking for me of like how strong I think heroes are, just their hero kit, he might be the weakest one to me. Like, I really think his kit struggles, much like Black Panther, it's very difficult to expand out because he wants this contained ecosystem, right? Black Panther from the core set. also has this Wakanda Forever thing, and like you can do other stuff, but he really just wants to run Wakanda Forever, and it's hard to interact with that in different ways. Same thing with Hawkeye. Like he wants to play all these arrows, but the only arrows that exist are the ones he has, so he can feel kind of samey and limited. Like his resource generators only pay for arrows. I just think he's a little weak. Having to exhaust the bow to shoot arrows, and then exhaust yourself to ready the bow, like that is wild. Yeah, he's not great. He's not the strongest, but I think he's fun. So,
agreed.
I stand by it.
That is a good call out. He's fun. If you love the hero, he's super thematic. It's just his kit shows the downside of being very self-involved.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, he's just a design, and I think you could see that coming when he came out, right? Like, you could see some heroes, like Miss Marvel, it was like, she interacts with events. So, like, that will forever be good because there will forever be events. Hawkeye, it was like, okay, unless they make arrows in the aspects, which I don't know why they can't. Like, I don't understand why they haven't yet, to be totally honest. Like, you could just add the arrow keyword onto a card, like Piercing Strike, for example, could just have the arrow keyword. It wouldn't change the card for anybody else, but it suddenly makes it a lot better for Hawkeye to run that. Or like 1x1, or cards that somehow thematically, I just think there's some you could have just themed them run an arrow and thrown the keyword on there to help him out. But hey, they haven't. They probably won't at this point. Okay, so that is Master of Ranged Firepower by a deck builder called Sky Elian, who at the time of this recording has 49 fake MCDB points.
Nice.
So there you go.
Good job. Good deck.
Let's run into the next one for you, Andy. Your next deck is... Oh, Andy, you're so predictable.
Oh, my.
You're so predictable.
I am predictable. Did I do another Castle Frank deck?
You did another Castle Frank deck.
Oh, my
Castle
goodness.
Frank. At some point, Castle Frank is going to have too many points. When we started this series, I'm not saying we built Castle Frank. His decks are awesome, and that's his work.
Right.
But when he started, he was like very few points, and we started shouting him out. Now he probably has more points than I do. So at some point, I have to like stop shouting out Castle Frank decks, because this is supposed to be for people that don't get a lot of, cachet on Marvel CDB. But
that's fair.
That's what it is.
I promise this is the last one for this episode. I think actually I don't fully know, but it's true. I like Castle Frank's decks a lot.
But he's going to graduate out at some point.
I know he is. I feel like he's like, I don't know, some 44 points away from it. So
he's close.
So this is Gamora, called Guardians of the Armory.
I love this deck.
And it is a leadership deck, which, a lot of people presuppose that leadership is Gamora's worst aspect. And this deck hopefully makes you question, maybe it isn't? And so in it, we have allies, Drax, Groot, Major Victory, Rocket Raccoon, Yondu. For events, we have 2 Welcome Aboards, 3 Firepower, 3 Multitasking. For player-sized games, 1 Superpower Training. For resources, just the 3 doubles, Energy, Genius, Strength. For supports, we have Guardians of the Galaxy, and then upgrades, 1 Endurance, 3 Laser Blasters, 2 Reinforced Suits, and 3 Sidearms. And this deck is also centered around Firepower, because you want your allies out, and you want to add the tech weapons to them, and then use Firepower to take those weapons and do big damage. And the best part is, like, if this is our theme, which is giving our allies weapons, Castle Frank did a great job of, 1, helping Gamora pay for the allies by using what I consider the ally double of Welcome Aboard, and then the ability to put upgrades. And then the best part was to make that worth it with Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a team-up card that only costs 2, so a cheaper team-up card. And it says if each of your characters has the Guardian trait, which in this case they will, this card gains Response. After you play an upgrade on an ally, draw 1 card. So Laser Blasters, Reinforced Suit, Sidearm, all of those will refund themselves because they all cost 1, and you'll get to draw that back from Guardians of the Galaxy. So you're able to use your allies, make them powerful, still get off your events, And with Gamora, you want her events that you pull in to kind of be cheaper because you want to always be able to trigger forward momentum, which is 2 cost. It'll deal more, it'll remove more threat if you've played an attack event, and decisive blow, which will do more damage if you've played a thwart event. And you always want to be able to set those up. And having cheap cards like firepower and multitasking are a great way to make sure that you're just doing tons of good damage. So I love this take in leadership by using things like laser blasters and sidearm.
I think this is really great. I played this tech when it first came out, I don't know, a month or something ago, pretty close to when Bucky came out, I think, because firepower dropped. And I thought this was a really cool take on firepower. I hadn't considered using it off aspect with Gamora. I played it a few times. I ended up swapping multitasking for Fusillade because Fusillade is just another way to do damage because there's so many weapons in play here. You know, if you get these allies out and they have laser blasters and sidearms, you could play multiple firepowers in a turn if you draw into them, but Fusillade gave me another way to hit those weapons, so I could just exhaust one and deal 5 damage. But, you know, I was playing a multiplayer, so I didn't have to worry about thwarting as much. So if you're playing solo, you may need the multitasking. But this is awesome. This is a fun deck. This is one I would recommend.
And I do want to call out on Welcome Aboard. Once again, that is a great card that can be played and help anyone. So even if your allies are out or your ally limit is capped because you can only have 3 out, and you draw Welcome Aboard, ask the table who wants a 2 resource discount on an ally. Because you can play it for anyone.
And it's even better for your teammates, actually, because it's a 2-cost discount, but you have to discard a card. So the discount, if you're playing an ally from your hand, is actually less than that. But for other people, they get the pure 2 discount because you're the one who discarded a card. So it's actually better for other players. I love Welcome Aboard.
Yeah,
awesome card.
It's a great multiplayer card.
So fun. Yeah. The Guardians has some cool stuff, actually. And I hope we revisit Guardians because it's locked away in the set of heroes that came out 4 years ago.
I can't believe it's been 4 years.
I know.
My goodness.
I know. It's crazy. Time goes fast, man.
It does.
Okay. Any final thoughts on Guardians of the Armory?
No, I think I just high recommend to people to play it. Don't just say because it's leadership Gamora that you're going to skip it. It's worth it.
Don't skip it. Don't sleep on this. And then plus, you know, Yondu is one of the allies who's often overlooked, but when you get Laser Blaster and Sidearm on him, he stays out forever. Because, you know, he doesn't take consequential, so that's easy. Okay, so let us now go to the next deck on the list. I have one that I know you also had your eyes on, so let me go ahead and share my deck here. And this is a deck by a deck builder called Bananas, who I had the pleasure of meeting at the Con of Heroes this year, and who, I will give it away now, is going to be a guest on the Winning Hand podcast soon. We're going to talk about some interesting stuff that she's done in the community as well. But awesome meeting you, Bananas. If you're listening, shout out to you. It was a great time in Minnesota. Here we are. So this is called Otherworlds True Defender. Now, this is a Psylocke protection. So I'll read the list and we'll talk about it. It includes Charlie 27, Colossus, Luke Cage, Polaris, and Rock Slide. Events, we have 3 Psy Flail Strikes and 3 copies of Psychic Misdirection. We have the 3 basic doubles, Energy, Genius, and Strength, and then 2 copies of the Power Protection. We have Cerebro, Dr. Sinclair, Hangar Bay, Helicarrier, and the Night Nurse. And then we have Endurance and 3 copies of Ready for a Fight, which is definitively the new hotness in the game.
Yeah, it is.
And shows no signs of slowing down. That card's incredible. Okay, so this is built around, I think, a comic storyline, maybe. There's a quote that mentions a comic. I don't know anything very much about comics, and I certainly don't know anything about Psylocke comics. But this is about keeping your table safe. So it's about defending your table and then healing them if they do happen to get some threat or some damage on them. You're using beefy allies that you can use Hangar Bay to ready multiple times to defend over and over again. Hangar Bay is an awesome card. Using Psychic Misdirection to redirect attacks, which is a super cool interaction. And then Psy-Flail Strike is just solid psionic stuff. Ready for a Fight allows you to flip down and take advantage of her alter ego stuff. Night Nurse, Helicarrier, Dr. Sinclair are just all passing out to the table. And then Cerebro is just solid because she is psionic, so you can flip down and just grab whatever ally you need from your deck, which is super cool. So it's a pretty straightforward deck, but it works really well, I think, with Psylocke here and the stuff she's included. What do you think?
I love it. I like even the ally list. I don't know how many recent decks I see that have Luke Cage and Charlie 27.
I know,
Like,
right?
That is fun.
Yeah,
and
love that.
it is always refreshing to see some of these older forgotten cards come back, and yet the best advantage of them, the toughness on both Luke Cage and Charlie 27, I think is tough.
Yes.
Yeah, he has toughness.
Both tough.
And Retaliate 1.
Yep.
And it's so fun to see because we don't see a lot of allied defense in terms of defend the table. Like usually it's because desperate defense is there, never back down, those things that allow you to like it's all hero centered. However, doing it ally centered is a fun way to manage defending the table. I think this is a super fun deck.
Yeah, I like this a lot. They're also beefy, right? Charlie 27 has 4 hit points in toughness. Luke Cage has 5 hit points in toughness. Rockslide has 6 hit points. Colossus has 3 hit points, but also toughness. Polaris can give herself or somebody else tough, so you could just keep these allies going, and Hanger Bay allows you to defend at least twice. I think that's super cool. I'll just give the people watching this, if you're watching this and thinking to yourself, man, I really want Andy and Boom Guy to talk about my deck, here's what you got to do. Have not a lot of internet points and use cards that most people don't use. So Charlie 27, that is like, I'm like at a bullfight and you're waving the red flag at me. Like, I got to go now. I got to do it.
I got to check it out.
Enhanced awareness? Yeah. Huh? Charlie 27? Huh? I have to. Protection training? Huh? I got to go. So... yeah, this is just great. And Ready for a Fight, I think that card is just incredible. I think that card is going to age very, very well. I mean, my not at all hot take when it came out was like, that's the new...
auto-include.
Auto-include for protection. Yeah, it's just like no protection deck could not use it, basically.
Yeah.
Like, you could always just
it's the new Nick Fury.
Yeah.
The new Moon Girl, you know?
Oh, the new
if
Moon
you're
Girl.
a genius, you are including Moon Girl. And now, if you're protection, you're including Ready for a Fight.
And it's I'm totally blanking on the name, but the 0 cost justice upgrade that draws you a card when you defeat a side scheme.
Oh, Skilled Investigator.
Skilled Investigator. It's like that for protection, right? Skilled Investigator is just always good. Like it's 0 cost. You throw it in your deck. You throw it, it thins your deck out, and you'll probably throw at least one side scheme in a game. You draw a card, you're good to go. Ready for a Fight feels like the same thing. It's like you will never like be mad that you have it. Some characters can make better use of it than others, but awesome. And this one allows you to flip down and get all those allies, which is great. So
to do the allies, to do Cerebro, to do her training regimen, Ready for a Fight on a 4 hand size hero is so good because it lets you get those extra cards. And while Betsy doesn't need it because she has the 2 resource generators, still is nice. And I'm with you. Ready for a Fight is so good. I can't wait to see how I can include it in my Drax deck, you know?
Flipping down with Drax. I love to hear that. Okay, I will stop this. Hey, now people don't flip down with Drax. That's kind of like,
it's true. I want to try to find a way to make it work.
I'm here for it.
It's so anti-synergy, it has to.
You totally can make that work. That's the kind of deck that if I saw, I'd be like, oh, I got to feature this on All Hands on Decks because this is nonsense. The concept, at least. But maybe it works. Okay, you have the last deck of the day, sir.
Okay.
So let us go to your final deck, and then we'll leave the people wanting more. Okay, here you are.
That sounds great. Angel's Aerial, Children of the Atom. Now, I will say this is all about Nick E81 listening to the song Aerials by System of a Down. So I probably should have saved this if we ever did another music deck, but I really like this take on aggression in multiplayer. So we have Angel as the hero, and he has allies, Cannonball, Storm, Vivian. He has Angel as an ally as well, which I will say I don't think you can play just because it is its own name.
I think that's a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. But for the events, we have 2 bombs away, 2 dive bombs, 2 pitchbacks, 1 soaring heart. For resources, 1 power in all of us, 2 power of aggressions, and 3 power of flight. For supports, we have Boot Camp, Children of the Atom, Crew Quarters, Moira McTaggart, Team Building Exercise, and then for upgrades, we have 2 attack training, 1 combat training, 1 endurance, 1 martial prowess, and 1 soaring acrobatics. And I think this deck, it's, as you can see, it's got a little bit of everything. Like, it's not trying to be one specific kind of deck. This isn't just an area of effect deck, though it definitely has that with Bombs Away and Dive Bomb. It isn't just a boost your own attack, though you can with combat training and soaring acrobatics. You can give yourself a +2 attack. It isn't a fully ally oriented, though boot camp and attack training are there to boost up your allies and let them hit big. It just has a little bit of everything. And the best advantage to me, especially in terms of multiplayer, is one, area of effect is always great because there's always minions around and sometimes they gang up. There's always damage to be done. And then the better part is, like, if you choose not to use a specific piece of the archetype, like let's say you're just not going to focus on the allies, you're going to get one aerial ally out for Bombs Away, but then you're not going to do any of the others. Play boot camp to your leadership player. Play Children of the Atom to someone else who it could be useful for. And in that way, you can still help the table. And so for Angel, like, obviously he's got a great card draw. So when you build, you always want to build for aerial cards. And this one has a lot of them, just so you can get his draw on his Angel side and then flip to Archangel. So all in all, I think it's a great deck. And then, I'll give the call out resources. There are 8 of them. I'm not a 5 resources apologist whatsoever.
I love that about you.
Thank you. Yeah, where, like, I love the way they did the resources because, once again, as we talked earlier, resources to me are meant to be triggers. And it's very clear the priority of these things. When you see power of aggression, power of flight, you know what you're going to be gearing towards. You're going to be gearing towards those Bombs Away, Dive Bomb, your own stuff. And there still is a power in all of us, just so when it comes, there is enough gray that you can think, which gray card can this be? So depending on the way your deck shuffles, those resources are going to take on a different life each time you play this game, which I think is such a clever way of looking at Angel.
See, I'm not quite there with you on the resources. I don't mind how many we have, but to me, I just never understand why we are skipping the basic doubles, which have no requirement, right? The power of aggression is a double resource if you are playing it on a red card. And if you're not, it's just one resource. But the doubles are just always double resources. So to me, I never understand, I need someone to walk me through why that choice was made. I can understand it sometimes, right? If you need specific triggers, like you're building a hone technique deck, in that case, the power of aggression may be more valuable than a double because it's always going to hit that trigger. I don't know. But, I'd probably say stick with the doubles. I think I will say that Nick E81 has been on a tear recently. Every time I log into Marvel CDB, this person has more new decks posted. I also want to shout out, if you read the write-up all the way through, it's not that long, it doesn't look like he's actually played this deck at the time of posting, which I think is cool. I don't like this unwritten rule or this like social pressure to like run everything against Expert Venom Goblin and Ronin and Magneto and Ultron on Heroic 2, whatever, to like post a deck. If you just have an idea and you build it, I don't care if you played it 1 time, 0 times, 20 times, like just post it. That's fine. Like it's totally fine.
What a good way to get feedback to refine for a 2.0 deck.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a great call out to, if you have an idea and you just want to know the community's reaction to it, sure, you could do the whole like unpublished send to Discord thing, but like if you want to get the eyes on it without having to go the Discord route, publish it. Let people see it and react and respond to it. It can be a great way to evolve an idea.
Yeah, and just, who cares? You're just sharing something that you think is cool, and it's what hobbies are all about. So you don't have to test your decks, and you don't have to post your win rate with it or link it to a video. Like, that's nonsense. You can just post a deck, and boom, guy will show it off. All right. Well, Andy, that was 5 decks.
That's a lot.
It was a lot of decks. I hope people like these. If you like these decks, please leave a comment or winninghandpodcast@gmail. You can get in touch with me, or you can hit me on Discord. I'm Boom Guy, and you are Andy R. Hit us up. Let us know if you have decks you want us to share, want us to talk about. If you have ideas for themes that we could talk about in the future, hit us up with that. I'm always happy to hear from people who enjoy watching and listening, ideas they have. So don't be a stranger. Reach out. And I hope to see some of you either at the Con of Heroes or at MCDC. If you want more details on that, that is a convention that I am part of the organizing team for, and we are having that in October. At the time of this recording, tickets are just about sold out. So by the time you listen to it, they may well be gone. But I hope you got yours, and I hope to see everybody there. Andy, thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for having me. Sounds good.
All right, bye, everybody.